And Value This with Dr. Lori, Carol Erickson and I are going to answer your questions. You can send in your questions to drloriv.com or write your comments right online, right?
That's right. And
what questions have we got from our viewers?
Well, we got plenty of them. We're paring them down a little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to explain where we're seated so comfortably. This is one-of-a-kind consignment gallery, and this is in Princeton. Great store. Love the stuff in here. Okay, here's what somebody wants to know. I will read it off the paper. Do I send my antique to the appraiser I found online? It's a vase. He says he needs it to evaluate it.
Don't send your stuff to anybody, ever. You'll never see it again. If you do see it again, it'll probably be damaged. No. Any reputable expert appraiser can do it from a photograph. If they can't do it from a photograph, they will in fact tell you, I can't do it from a photograph, I have to see it in person. But for example, I don't accept any object ever from anyone. You cannot mail it to me.
Okay.
And that's because I'm reputable, honest, educated. I don't do that. But if somebody asks for it, oh, I have to see it, they probably want to take your object. And literally, I think, in my opinion, they're probably trying to steal it from you.
Okay. You know, you've got a...
That's the straight shoot. I mean, that's what it is.
Near you. Maybe you try there. You
get in touch with us.
Okay. And then,
right here.
And then the best way to take a photo, you take the top, the bottom, the sides.
You take the top, front, you take the back, you take the underside or the mark.
Okay.
You can do it at drloriv.com. It's very simple. I even show you how to take the photo.
All right. Now, you know that I'm guilty of doing this a lot lately.
What's that?
Should I repaint my antique furniture?
Sometimes yes and sometimes no.
Okay.
Okay? You have to have an evaluation first. Don't let it go until you know what it's worth. So that means don't sell it. But also don't repaint it if you don't know. And make sure you use the right types of paints. There's lots of great paints for doing this now. So we want to think about the right types of paints too. But first you have to have the object evaluated in its current condition before we do that. What other questions do we have, Carol?
You know what? I should have talked to you. Do I still have the blue paint I used on the furniture?
Sometimes it works out great, but again, don't be overzealous with the painting. You've got to see what's what.
All right, but how do you find a good restorer? Oh yeah, I can restore that. I'm an upholstery shop, but how do you really know you got a good restorer, art person, whatever?
For antique furniture and for paintings, or for any antique, you want to ask your local museum. People don't even think of the museums, and
they will tell you.
And having been a curator and having been a director, I always say use the people the experts use.
And they will tell you.
Of course they will tell you.
We won't tell you who's good.
Oh no, of course they'll tell you.
Okay.
Call up and say, I have this. I need a restorer. Who do you suggest? And they'll refer it. Sure.
Okay. And some people say, oh, don't restore anything because that diminishes the value if you fix that old piece.
It depends. That's a depends. That doesn't mean anytime you alter the piece, you alter its value. But I've seen pieces that look terrible that have been restored beautifully and the value goes up.
Okay, but a restorer would know whether you should restore or not, and a good one comes out of your museum.
Out of a museum.
All right.
Okay.
Should I negotiate in an upscale antique store? I love something and they ask
Always.
$500. Do I say I'll give you $200? Or
Always.
What do you do?
Have a conversation. Be polite. Be polite. Be serious. Don't just start negotiating for the sake of negotiating. But in any, it doesn't matter if you're at a flea market or if you're somewhere else. Always negotiate. That's fine if you do it in an antique store. And then your last question.
Are Beanie Babies valuable?
Yes. Some of them are valuable. Some of them are terrible reproductions, junk, awful. Some of them, and I can tell the difference, and I can tell you which ones are selling for more and which ones can go off to the trash dump.
Okay.
Because people are surprised by this. Now, some of them are ridiculously, overvalued, but some of them do have some significant value, and some are just junk. I can tell you the difference.
Do they still have to have the original tag?
We're going to go through all of that, but that's for a whole nother day. But again, don't assume just because everybody's talking about that. Some collectibles are actually holding their values pretty well, but you have to have an expert tell you the difference. Keep the questions coming. Value This with Dr. Lori. We'll value your questions and we'll tell you more.
I love it. I love it. Why did I get rid of all those Beanie Babies? All right. We'll see you next time on Value This with Dr. Lori.